Hello everyone, it's Olive Branch from Maple Leaf back once again with Let's Play Night in the Woods. In this episode, we're going to be hanging out in town once again, because we dreamed of a cat. A big old cat.
This big old cat.
Now, some discussion was going on in the thread asking, or rather about us too, whether it was May's subconscious. I thought it was more an actual spirit in May's head. I honestly don't know one way or the other.
Discussion is a pretty generous way to put it, seeing there's only one other person that said anything.
Well, between you and me, and then a third person, that would be a discussion, wouldn't it?
Alright.
How many people would it take to categorize a discussion?
Well, it would only take two, but it would take more than 3 or 4 sentences of input, I would say.
So in this episode, like I said, we're just going to be hanging around town a little bit because, honestly, there's not much to do until we hang out in the night.
So why don't we just jump straight to the night?
Because, you know, the dream that May had kind of goes to show that some stuff happens.
If you have dreams, do you just talk to people about it as much as I'm assuming this video does?
Well, I don't remember my dreams as very much, like I told you. And I don't think, you know, when you're in your late 20s, people don't want to hear that you're talking about dreams, unless it's like a really cool one. I like that May is actually talking to Rabies, expecting him to answer back.
Well, talking to yourself, or to animals, or to objects, there was a study that proved that talking to yourself, or whatever, it's a good exercise for your brain in the same way that lifting weights is good for your arms. Because
you're kind of like putting your thoughts in order?
Because your mind is just working.
I suppose. I mean, May's using Rabies as a little bit of a good-ass possum. She's using him a little bit as a sounding board to just kind of talk her ideas through and kind of reassure herself that she's not crazy.
Well, you gotta make sure that you're not crazy. I mean, one of your closest friends even saw the guy that you're worried about, and he refuses to believe that he saw what you saw.
Well, he refuses to interpret it the same way. There's a difference there.
I suppose.
Because, I mean, like, if I see a guy and I say, that's a ghost, and you see that guy and you say, no, he's a living person, he's a hunter. We both see it, but clearly we're taking the different opinion from it, you know?
Well, I have no reason to say that he's also a hunter, though. I didn't see a rifle. I didn't even try to communicate with the guy. Actually, yeah, we did, and the guy didn't say anything in return.
Yeah, Angus and May were just staring at him going, yeah, how's it going today? And just silence.
Yeah, just total silence. That's friggin' creepy.
Maybe he's like the mute around the town, that like a homeless guy who just is there to freak people out. A bit like a...
Do you know a lot of homeless people who exist specifically to freak people out?
No, but it's a common TV trope, isn't it? It's like a movie trope. It's like a horror movie where everyone starts thinking that it's the homeless guy, but he's really a good guy, and he saves the kids or whatever.
The only movie that I remember that does that is Home Alone 2. And the homeless lady is the guy that saved Calvin from whoever the bad guys were. It might have been the Weapons. I can't remember. It's been a long ass time.
That's a fun movie. Tell me a poem, Somers. What's going on?
Life is too short.
I was actually reflecting on that exact poem walking home the other day. Like, carrying groceries, I'm like, man, life is short when you think about it. Like, every year, as you're young, every year seems like a momentous thing, but the older you get, the years start flashing by, and it's like, huh, a year's not that bad.
It's because, for 2 reasons. Well, actually, I guess for just for one reason. When you're younger, time seems to go slower because you're like experiencing new things when you're younger. Like, not all of it is old to you. But by the time you get older, you fall into a routine, and then the hours just kind of go. You sort them into that routine. Like 8 hours a day is your job, and then you spend another hour and a half at the gym or something like that, and then you go home and then you play Overwatch for 2 hours, something like that. So it's far less spontaneous, and it's all scheduled, and that's one of the reasons why time seems to go a lot faster. And also, just as you get older, your perception of time also increases. I don't know if has anything to do with the scheduling thing that I just talked about, or if it's some other phenomenon that happens to your brain when you age. But that's just how it goes. When you're younger, time goes, or at least it seems to go a whole lot slower.
Poor Selmers.
I wasn't paying attention to the words she said.
She was saying how Chazokov as a kid, she finds him kind of hot, but because he's a university guy, he's not interested in, I guess she said, in this, and I suppose she was talking about herself, you know? Karaoke night should be every night. I agree, Selmers. Karaoke it's awesome.
Bad weather. Storms are brewing. You know, that's a real thing. If someone says they feel bad weather coming in their bones, it's because the lower pressure, if you're older and you have bad or fake joints, then the lower pressure, I forget exactly what it does, but the lower air pressure, it irritates the joints in your bones and it makes them hurt.
Oh, there you go. Probably arthritis too, eh?
Arthritis too, yeah. Another good way to tell is if birds and insects are low flying.
It just means they're trying to avoid the humidity or something?
It means that storms are brewing. Air pressure is too high, I think.
What about that? What was it they say? Red sky at night, sailor's delight. Red sky in the morning, sailor's warning? About storms?
I wouldn't know. You know, red sky, isn't that just sunrise and sunset?
I imagine that's what they mean, but it's like a whole, it's like a mnemonic or whatever it's called. Remind yourself, like spring forward, fall back for the time, what do you call it? Spring, friggin' daylight savings time. That's the one.
What a shitty idea that was.
Yeah, really. So what's the star we got today? Ferdinand, Mountaineer. Is it Franz Ferdinand?
That's a fun name. May's gonna name her kid Ferdinand.
No, she's gonna name her kid Trash Baby. Didn't you hear that? Trash Baby.
Yeah, she's gonna change her mind. She's gonna change to Ferdinand.
The Midwest.
We've talked about this before, but does this place take place in America?
Yeah, it does.
No, like America.
It's fake America.
Well, okay then. So no.
Well, what other country could this be?
Well, I knew that, like, it's a stand-in for America, but it doesn't actually take place in literal America.
No.
South of Canada.
No.
No, okay.
It's an Americanized furry world.
Right, so it's like a facsimile of America. It's supposed to be a stand-in for America.
Exactly.
Okay.
But for all its stand-ins, it pretty much nails the fact. Like we have never lived in small towns like this, but from what the thread says, it's a pretty solid depiction of the crushing boredom and the slow death of these towns. So do you agree with Mr. Chazokov when he says that people yearn to leave their homes to experience new things?
No. End of discussion.
That's it? Just no?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I thought the fact that May came home, because he said, hey, doesn't everybody yearn to leave their home? And then May's like, I don't, because I figured, yeah, May shouldn't, because she came back home.
I don't agree with the idea of leaving home, but visiting other places is something that I don't think it's something that you yearn for, but something that you
Want to experience?
Yeah,
That's about it?
well, if you say you want to experience it, isn't that the same definition as yearning for it?
No, when you're yearning for something, you desire it deeply.
Alright, let's change the wording then. Mr. Chazokov is saying you want to leave Possum Springs forever, just for example. Just go to someplace new and, friggin', what's the word I'm looking for? Settle someplace else. So I don't think that's the case, or at least not with me. I can't really imagine living anywhere else other than Nova Scotia. I've been to Toronto, I've been to Ontario, I've been to Montreal, I've been to all over America. Well, first of all, America sucks. And Toronto, I do, like, enjoy it. And one thing I admire about Toronto is its energy. But I don't think I could really live there.
Nice to visit, not fun to live.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna just interrupt you for a moment to talk about this particular star, Adina Astra. She is actually the protagonist of the second Night in the Woods supplemental.
Adina Astra?
Yeah, this particular star.
Do you play as her?
Yeah, you do.
Well, friggin' spoilers. Thanks for that, asshole.
Well, you're gonna see it later. How can you think it's a spoiler when I just told you specifically she is the star of the second Night in the Woods supplemental?
If it happens later, that doesn't make it a spoiler. That's completely backwards. If I told you how the ending of the Night of the Woods went, would you call that a spoiler?
Yes.
Well, it would happen, so what the fuck?
Well, it would happen, but the thing is that, you know, if I played this thing and you're like, who is this character? I'd have to explain it all over again. She's Adina Astra. She was in the star. And you'd be like, okay. I'm just putting it out in advance because I already played the bonus game. The, Longest Night.
Mm.
And that was supposed to be, you were asking, like, when does this take place? I'm like, it's before May was there, you know? But I saved it I didn't put it as episode 1 of the whole series because it's like, you gotta wait for the right time to show it, you know?
Well, you didn't have to tell me now. We could have just seen Adina Astra, and then we could have done the second video, and then you said, hey, remember that one constellation? I probably would have said no.
Exactly, that's my point. I'm preparing you, that's what. So, do you think that disappearing means death, or no?
Disappearance means death?
Yeah.
The last time someone says your name means your death.
So, in other words, she's alive because she's gone, but doesn't mean she's dead because people still talk about her.
Well, okay, when was Adina Astra supposedly alive?
Well,
if it was 300 years ago...
It's a folktale. It's a folktale, so who knows?
If it
Maybe
was
she's immortal.
Yeah, if it's 300 years ago, she's probably dead.
Unless she's like a ghost.
If she's immortal, then she's a god. And then that just brings up a whole lot of questions.
So once again, the game seems to give another name for Ferdinand. Ferdinand's name is Cole in the notebook. The stars. Mr. Chazokov has a one-track mind.
Are those weirdly curved hills in the background, or is the sun extremely large and low-hanging?
Pretty sure those are just hills.
Okay.
Because if the sun was that close, I think everyone would be cooked alive.
Either that or it's a very cold star.
See, this game takes place in Not Earth, and in Not Earth, the sun is really close.
It'd be a unique idea. It'd be interesting because days would be super long and the night would probably only be an hour.
It'd wreck your circadian rhythm, though.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, if all of humanity or the humanity standing lived on that planet as they evolved for billions of years, they'd probably be used to it.
True enough.
So what's next on the docket?
We're gonna go to the church. I've kind of devised a system for exploration in the city. I go all the way to the right to explore the outskirts of town. Then I come here, speak with Selmer, speak with Chazokov, and then I head straight up to the church to check out what's going on in there. Oh, and the tunnel too, because, you know, the tunnel is basically like one long line, and there's maybe one or two people to talk to in there, and that's it. But then the rest of the day is taken up exploring the two big parts of the city. It's not even a city, it should be a town. And the food donkey, where Germ lives. Although lives is kind of a loaded word, eh?
What's some kind of loaded word?
To live in the abandoned supermarket? I mean, he's just there all day.
Well, yeah, I suppose I would. I mean, does it still get power? Even though it's abandoned?
Nah, I don't think it does.
Alright.
So what's up, teens?
Are you always together? Isn't that weird?
They're all basically stand-ins for May and the gang.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to say it's not weird when me and my friends do it.
Friends are cool.
The world should be afraid of them.
The buddy system. Safety in numbers with 3 exclamation marks. I think May's a bit manic right now.
Well, May is just a poor, defenseless woman.
Kid, you don't even know how paranoid I am.
Anyone want to talk about Cat God? Have you heard the word of Cat God?
Cat God doesn't care about you. He remembers you, but he doesn't care about you.
A bit more than some girl online.
Not logging on for a few days.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Let's talk about the Amber Alert.
A place called Mulvey. Mulvey?
Mulvey backwards is Yavlum.
That sounds like a bad fantasy name. I'm Yavlum the Mage. Do you know where Mulvey is?
Yeah, it's just down the street.
Do you know what Mulvey is?
It's a type of fruit.
Well, get smart there, rat boy.
Drives a bread truck. Carries around a whole bunch of Mulvey.
He always takes Mulvey at night.
It's a type of mold.
I came down with a case of Mulvey the other day.
You don't stop there no more.
So what the hell is Mulvey? I mean, is it like a crime-ridden a ghetto or something?
It's clearly a place.
What is Mulvey? I'll take you out there this weekend.
Alright, sounds like a date.
Don't. May being the responsible one here.
Because it's flooded.
It'll be fine, we'll just drive through. So from all accounts and purposes, it sounds like Mulvey is like either the drug capital of this place, you know, and everyone's like strung out and dying, or, you know, maybe it's just like a rat hole infested place that's, I mean, what could it possibly be? It has to be either crime ridden, full of murders, or just drug central.
What place would be so bad that even May wouldn't want to go there?
College.
Got him.
Singer. But yeah, apparently that city, even May's like, no, I make bad decisions all the time, and I would never go there. Because I'm not stupid. So, you ready to talk to God? Are you ready to say the word of Cat God?
I mean, why not? We've gotten no information from Cat God, so maybe we'll get information from Mom.
Well, I don't think Mom would have much to say, but Pastor Karen would. I mean, if you think you saw God, what are you gonna do? You're gonna talk to your priest, right? To be like, yo, I saw God.
If I thought I dreamt I saw God, I'd probably do nothing.
You just be like, huh.
Because I'd realize that it's just me and my subconscious. I don't really think God would be communicating to me. Unless if he did, It'd have to be something really, really extreme.
Well, let's not forget May's life is kind of in a shitter right now, and one of the big things that she has a discussion with her mom and her family about is basically how she is not a religious person. You know?
Do we know if her dad is a religious person?
He's probably religious. I think her mom said something to the effect that he wakes up in the Sunday to go to church because it pleases his wife.
Okay. The responsible husband.
He's just caring, that's really about it. Don't tell her this favor until tomorrow. Can you do that?
Actually, this might be a dumb question, but is May's mom that particularly religious, or does she just work there?
She's religious.
Okay.
Like, more than once, May has said that her mom is unhappy that she's not a religious person. That she doesn't go to church, you know? Oh, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm paying attention to this guy.
That's kind of sad. He's basically saying...
He's gonna dip.
He's gonna... It says, just let me go. Kind of a dumb answer. Why am I telling her this? Are you leaving? That's the obvious one. I mean, come on, May.
Well, I mean, the answer is obvious.
Exactly, but it's like, why am I telling her this? It's like, God, kid, so fucking dumb.
No, I mean, I think it would be more poignant if he said it to her. If it were me, I would have chose the first one.
Well, maybe he would have been like, forget about it, you know? Whereas, are you leaving kind of encourages him to say, yeah. He's like, yep, going home.
This is interesting, because this is exactly what May did.
Just go home?
Yeah, she just, she was, confused and lost for a little bit. She, got some help, and then she went home.
Well, slight difference between her and Bruce. I mean, Bruce has been a hobo wanderer for God knows how long.
Yeah, I'm trying to say that if May continues on her path, she might end up like him.
History repeats. Now, I don't know if Bruce is just saying this to reassure himself, but he's clearly like saying, "Oh yeah, everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. My kids will be happy to see me again." I mean, we know nothing about this guy's life, but it's clearly not going to happen the way. It's not going to play out this way.
Probably not.
But hey, you gotta have hope, right?
Alright, May's all for it. That's called enabling.
Well, come on. I mean, Bruce is nothing to her other than an acquaintance. Aww.
Does that mean that it's okay to let Bruce just fuck off like this?
Well, what can you really just say? Can you take responsibility for a stranger? Can you just say no, stay here, let Pastor Kate do something? I mean, May is a witness. She doesn't have power over the guy.
Well, it wouldn't be right to say, no, you're gonna do this, or anything to that effect. But it would be better to offer, like, another opinion. And May's just kind of going with it. She's just letting Bruce say and do what he wants, even though it's clearly not the healthier option.
I mean, Bruce is clearly doing it out of the goodness of his heart, kind of for Pastor Kate, because he doesn't want her to suffer from his expense, because obviously she's getting in trouble with the town council.
Who gives a fuck? Fuck those guys.
No, I agree with you, but I'm saying in his case, he's the one who's like, oh, I don't want to inconvenience anyone, and he's just kind of bowing out, you know? I mean, you're right that May should be more proactive and saying, listen, Bruce, give her a chance, but at the same time, we know that May is not that kind of person. She's a listener, not a recommendation-er, I guess. I mean, would you really take advice from May of all people?
Depends on what the advice is.
But that's the point. I mean, May is not exactly a reliable person. And if she said, do this, and you think to yourself, you know, coming out of the mouth of anybody else, that advice would sound good, but coming out of May's mouth makes me reconsider it. Sup, Mom? We spoke with a hobo.
Mom, I don't want to alarm you. but I spoke with God.
She'd be thrilled, I think. Aw.
Well, this relationship's evolved a little bit from our house is getting repossessed.
Well, I think it's in the back of her mind.
Well, I mean, it kind of would be at all times. Your house is getting repossessed. There's not a whole lot else you'd be able to think about.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. I'm saying like she's putting it aside to talk about anything else with her daughter. Oh, there you go, see? Well, that's one way to put it. It's like, don't we all have money problems, essentially? See ya, mummers. See ya, daughters. Alright, Mom, I spoke with God. Bye.
So your dad is called your father, and your mom is called your mother, and your sister is called your sister, and your brother is called your brother, and your daughter is called your daughter. What is your son called?
Son.
What's up with that?
I know, right? Should have been Sunter. So speaking of the people you don't like, there they are.
Yep. No, it's half full.
That's your job to fix, not ours.
These are just 4 assholes that got together and started bossing other people around. Just fucking punch one of them in the face. Look at that bear. That's a very punchable face.
That's a Trump voter. He's got the mustache, he's got the hat.
Okay, I didn't want to say that. You can, like, it's
but
okay to
I
punch,
said it.
It's okay to punch Trump in the face, but it's not right to assault a person just because of who they vote for. That's why voting is private.
Do you believe in punching Nazis?
Okay, now you're making this really difficult.
Well, Pastor Kate is being the responsible one and saying there's poverty right here, right across the street.
Actually, I saw a video on Facebook recently that was kind of interesting. It was a group of people that were holding a, like, Nazis go away or something like that. They were clearly standing outside of some alt-right meeting or whatever. And there was another man there, and the only sign, he wasn't, like, raising his voice, he wasn't pushing anyone around, he was just standing there. And the sign that he was holding that says, I believe in the right to open discussion and sharing ideas. And he was bullied by everyone else that was telling the Nazis to fuck off. He was pushed around, he was being told to go away, he was being told, they pushed him away because they thought he was supportive of the alt-right's ideas.
Well, I mean, that raises the discussion of asking, to say, hey, look, you believe that, gays and all that should be stoned or killed or whatever, but hey, I'm open to hearing these ideas and having a discussion. That sounds kind of, I'm putting the extreme there, of course, but it's kind of like saying, hey, no, you don't commiserate with people who have opinions of that nature, I'd say.
Well, they aren't commiserating with people of that nature. They're just saying they have it comes down to the Voltaire quote. I don't agree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it.
Sure. Doesn't mean that you have to enjoy it on a regular basis, though.
No, you don't have to enjoy it. That's the whole first half of the quote. I don't agree with what you say. And also, I've lost my train of thought there. But the point is, just, it gets awkward. Like, you get to the point where you have these alt-right people and they say the gays and the blacks, they should be stoned to death. And that's clearly not an okay opinion, but it's within their right to say that opinion.
Yeah.
And that's where things get awkward and ugly. But it has to be that way, because if it's not, then otherwise you have thought police issues.
So May and Karen finally having a heart-to-heart. The town council is being an asshole, but it's funny that you don't have the options as May to say, yeah, Bruce has something to say to you. Or you have the option to just keeping mum about that. Oh, finally, we're going to play therapist with Pastor Kate.
I think I met God. Alright, cool. What did God look like?
It was a giant cat. What? You saw God?
What?
It was a dream. Or, I don't think it was a dream. Now, the two options are kind of like, one is clearly much worse than the other. Because the other one makes it sound natural, the other one just makes it sound like May's a visionary. But I go with the second one.
I don't think it was a dream.
No.
If it was God, then it wouldn't have been her subconscious. So then, by definition, it wouldn't have been a dream.
That happens, right? Or, like, happened. Sure, history has full of people with faith. Can you tell me about it? Yes. Let's get into theological discussions. I was in this desert. It was like the shore.
Okay.
Now,
I would sooner say the desert, I guess.
yeah, that's what I agree with. Because the shore, I didn't see no water there.
Also, the desert is where cats came from.
Plus, it was where Muhammad heard the word of God. So there you go. Maybe May is Islamic. Cat God's Islamic.
It was sand. It was glassed.
It was bits of wood. The world is a ball of sand and wood. Forget water.
But we found God.
I was drawn to something. Would you kindly move to the left?
Alright, now this is very important. I need you to tell me exactly what God told you. And then May's not going to be able to answer a fucking word. Not because it's a dream. Not because it's a dream and she forgot it all. Not because it's a dream and she forgot it all, and not because it's May, but because God didn't say anything.
Tangible? He didn't say anything well, he did say a couple of things that were kind of straightforward.
He did.
Like, yeah, you're right. He was the Cat God was extremely vague and evasive and cryptic.
Yeah.
But he still said some things that were, like, pretty clear. Like, you know, like, you are going out to things that are blind and all that. And
how is that clear?
Well, it just, maybe he's saying you're headed the wrong path. Like, you're going to do something awful.
Okay, here's the good part.
Did they say anything? Yeah. What did they say?
A whole lot of things that don't mean anything. Didn't care, exactly.
They, like, didn't care, or they were kind of a jerk. I think that the cat struck me more as a didn't care kind of god than a jerk kind of god.
I mean, yeah. Cats, like, the common stereotype about cats is that they don't care.
They're their own person.
Cat God was very dismissive of May. It did say, I'm tired of speaking to these small creatures. It said, everything's gonna die. Stuff like that, but it didn't say it in like, yeah, well, you're about to fucking die, May. It didn't say something like that. It said, you know, everyone's gonna die eventually.
They went on and on about how annoyed they were, that people kept coming to them with questions. Can you imagine, like, if you were a deity of some sort, and you're like, you have no power, but then people keep coming to you constantly being like, help me, and you're like, I don't fucking stop. I can't do anything for you, Jesus.
Well, if I were a deity with no power, then what am I?
A lesser deity. A spirit. I don't think it was God then. Why not?
Because God is loving and caring, and he would answer everyone's questions.
If something tells you it isn't God,
it's probably not God.
You should probably believe it. That's the response when you were saying, how can we believe that he's telling us the truth that he's not God? It's because...
Yeah.
There you go. No, what I mean is that the thing we call God...
This is getting a little, I don't know.
Theological?
It's just a thing. It's getting a little... Not theological. I was gonna say, you remember that story that I wrote? And the main villain, he said to everyone that he isn't God and no one believed him.
Right.
Yeah, so that's basically the same thing. That's the same mindset going on here, at least with me.
So what did he say? How nothing matters? Or this giant hole? Now, I focus on the hole, dude. Because, I mean, that seemed like a more pressing thing than just saying nothing matters, boo-hoo-hoo. But the giant hole seems kind of a problem. Oblivion growing.
In the center of everything. And that it's growing and that it's going to take everything.
That reminds me, or rather, this just makes me notice, May has a round 0 on her shirt. I mean, is that supposed to be, like, metaphorical? Like, May literally has a hole in her heart or something? In the center of her body?
Nah, it means she's a big old 0. Okay, what was the question?
The question she was asking was basically like, God, what was the question? I was paying so much attention. I was like, yes, no, the question. What's the answer? Yes. The answer is yes. Oh, there we go. I remember now. She was asking if May felt lonely, if she's always felt lonely. And I said, yes, I feel lonely. That's the answer.
And she roughed up a guy real bad.
Her nickname was Killer. Yeah, it's like, you probably heard about it. Put a kid in the hospital. That's a good question. Do you believe yourself that May is a lonely person? I figured she was. I mean, for all her social life, or lack thereof, and bluster, the fact that she says, like, she has the options of saying either people don't like her or she doesn't like people, she's lonely. But what do you think?
Well, yeah. She doesn't really talk about her own thoughts or problems a whole lot, and she goes around and just listens to everyone else's problems. I guess that would put her in a position where she feels like she's like kind of singled out, and that she's the one that everyone focuses on for their own problems, for their own issues, for their own wants, and she has no outlet of that on her own. So it would be kind of a lonely existence in that case.
I just realized now, Pastor Kate basically is May, because she said she feels the same way, that she's lonely as well, and that makes me wonder if the fact that you're a good listener but you never share anything else, like here's the question: was she thought that in these moments of loneliness, that's when you open yourself up and God fills you up, and I just go full fucking no, I don't believe in God. If you want the truth, I think everyone doesn't believe in God. But May could be a good pastor. She's a good listener. She doesn't talk about herself very much.
For at least a few minutes a day.
Nobody believes in God. Not even I believe in God. And I'm a pastor.
Well, if we're not believing in God, then what's the point for a pastor or a church? If that's what a pastor thinks. Do you really think there's a God? Maybe not literally up there.
And maybe another plane of existence, a dimension.
Something like that.
Is that something you completely believe? Because it'd be so easy to just say, I believe in it.
There's that crack theory going around that we're literally inside the Matrix.
I don't know. Oh.
Not the most supportive answer from the pastor.
On my best days, I think it. Well, come on. She's trying to be honest. I mean, when you're a therapist, you have to be honest, you know? There are times where I don't.
Honesty is part of being a good person, not being a part of a therapist.
You stand up there every Sunday and tell people you do.
It's because faith is something that you just kind of need day by day. In order to get through the shit in your life. Like, look at Possum Springs. If you have nothing to look forward to or nothing to believe in, then what the fuck, right?
You need something to hold on to at the end of the day. You're lying to people. That's kind of strong words, May.
Yeah.
I mean, you could call her slightly hypocritical, but you can't say she's a liar. You stand out there and tell people to believe in something you don't 100% believe in yourself.
That makes her a politician.
Maybe you're right, May.
Maybe it's time to quit my job.
And maybe I should get up there every week and give some sort of tally of how much I believe that week. But who would that help?
Do you believe in God?
Hell no.
Olive Branch.
But you're a pastor. And you can't tell me whether or not God is up there.
I saw God. He told me he wasn't God, but I didn't believe him.
Whether anyone is watching, anyone who gives a shit. No, but
May's being very aggressive in this conversation.
then what is the point of you?
There you go. And there it is. Just waiting for an answer. It's very rude. Alright then. So, bringing up the topic of God to the pastor only made her angry. There you go, that's religion for you.
Well, I thought it was kind of funny how you were going to point out that Pastor Kate herself didn't believe in God, and you were saying kind of jokingly, but you called it. You called that shit.
There you go, it's because I'm good at this.
You're good at writing. But yeah, God doesn't exist, and there's a hole at the center of everything. Fun times, guys.